Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. As you can tell from my backdrop, I have moved my location in my house right now. I wouldn't say it's better. It does have its pros, but it's also got a few cons. So, it's gonna take me a little while to get used to this new setup now that now that's moved, and after I've been working a little while to get used to my old one. So, yeah. But anyways, today's video I wanted to do a little something different. I wanted to compare and contrast the book and the game from the Her Interactive, one of the Nancy Drew games, and the book it was based on. So today's book is called The Mystery Train. Oh, sorry, I completely forgot that sticker was on there. I don't like taking these stickers off for that reason. They do stick on a little too well. So, yeah, that's the only thing about having these stickers on the front, because then you can't, it's a little hard to take off, and it doesn't make for a pretty cover. But anyways, this is Mystery Train. The game that is based on it is A Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon. It is the first game that I have ever played, hence why this is the first video I'm doing. And then also the first game that I purchased off of Amazon. Sorry, I had to stop and think there for a minute, because I had seen them first at the library, at our local library, and then I went onto Amazon to get one, because I was like, oh, which one do I want to, start playing? And I chose Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon, because the trains is a pretty one of those factors that interests me. Thanks in part to my godfather, who was big in trains, as well as Murder on the Orient Express also had a big influence on that. So I was just like, let's go ahead and get it. Plus, it was one of the few games at that time that had the Hardy Boys. Well, still is one of the few games that has the Hardy Boys in it. And it's, however, this is the only book that actually has the Hardy Boys working with Nancy, that the game is based on. I'm trying to, because the majority of the time they're usually phone contacts. I think there's only 2 other times where you actually see the Hardy Boys, besides Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon. This other one is Kapu Cave, which has quite a few problems. And then the most recent one is Midnight in Salem. I think the book that one's based off of is The Witch Tree Symbol, because there's no other book that I can think of that would be like anywhere near Salem besides Witch Tree Symbol. And Witch Tree is in Pennsylvania, but it's not in Salem, Massachusetts. So it's actually a little different. It's close, but it's not quite there. So anyways, this is, and then of course Kapu Cave is based on Mystery in Maui, and then the Hardys aren't there either. So this is literally the only book where it is an actual, where the Hardy Boys actually do solve the mystery with Nancy. So, one of the key changes is that Bess is in the book. Okay, so main change is that there are actually fewer characters in the game in comparison to the book. you have like well, there's, different characters, maybe, I think maybe three more characters that are like, no, I think there's even more than that, because you meet about the same number of characters who are invited along for the train ride to solve the mystery, but there's definitely a lot more detectives on this train ride in the book. In the game, there's only a select few, and then Laurie Gerard is doing it, and there's a couple in the book who is actually in charge of the train, not just one person. Some of the major plot points do stay the same. For instance, who the culprit actually is kind of stays the same. For the most part, there's more than one culprit, though. There's actually 4 total in the book, and so, you've got all these different culprits, and it's like, you start to lose track of who's who after a while. So, yeah, it's like, there's quite a few, and then you've also got, apparently, the typical love interests for Jo and Bess. The two, like, small celebrities, if you will. I wouldn't really call them celebrities, they're just, part-time actors. Because, they're just, they do acting for murder mysteries. So, of course, they're good-looking. Jo is attracted to the actress, and Bess is attracted to the actor. This is one book I definitely would like to do a rewrite of. Because the whole Bess and Jo storyline in this it really doesn't fit, technically, their characters. Yes, Bess is supposed to be boy crazy, and Jo is supposed to be girl crazy. They're both flirtatious. It's just, if you're doing it every book, it starts to get old after a while. So, and in this one, it's like I've read other books in between this, and I haven't, read the entire Super Mystery series. So, it's just coming into this, it was already too much. Just in the few pages, I'm just like, okay, really? They're almost rewriting Jo's entire character because he's basically letting Frank and Nancy do all the work. I was like, yeah, you could have, that could have been worked a little better, at least. Anyways, I think it should have been like a little side romance between Jo and Bess with their flirting with each other. That would have made more sense. Jo would not have, like I said, it does not seem like he gives that much attention to the actual mystery as he does to the actress that he's got a crush on in this book. Especially in comparison to other stories where it's like, oh yeah, there's a pretty girl, I definitely want to go out with her, but we've got a mystery. Mystery comes kind of first. And Bess, she's supposed to be smart. Or, at least smarter than some would betray her. Not a mechanics type of person, and that's not what I would associate her with. But, she's got her strengths. And she's not completely stupid. So, but yeah. So, it's not a totally horrible mystery, but I think the game does a better job of telling the story. definitely. And I mean, like I said, I played the game first before I read the book. But there's going to be a few books that are definitely better than the games. But in this case, I'd say the game is better than the book. And of course, you got the iconic cheeseburger line from Joe. Cheeseburgers. Mmm. And of course, Frank's telling us, oh, Joe can't cook to save his life. He'd burn boiling water. So, you just got those quips that are just like so iconic from that game. And it's just, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. Anyways. So yes, pretty much it's a few key points that are the same, but only a few key points. There's more characters in the book. There's, I guess you could say, a little bit more action. Frank nearly falls off the train. As you can tell from the cover, they get on the train, on the top of the train, and there's like a little skirmish up at the top. There's really not a full-on fight. This actual scene does not take place. So, yeah. Or at least, the scene as portrayed right here. They do get on top of the train. There is a little bit of a skirmish. Frank does nearly fall off, but isn't it, this particular scene does not happen because Joe and Nancy are behind, like I think up here. Oh no, the Frank and the culprit are a little further back here, almost on the caboose. So yeah, it's, what can you say? And of course, that probably doesn't help that I skimmed through majority of this. I was just like, okay, it's not as interesting of a read as the game was to play. Just saying. Like I said, there are some key points in here that are fine. I'm a Frank and Nancy shipper, and so the Frank and Nancy moments in here are mostly good. But like I said, the romance in this, it just didn't come out too well. Joe really should have just flirted with Bess and just be done with it, and you could have just cut out the two actors. They literally did nothing than to just be eye candy for Joe and Bess. And that was it. You could have literally cut out this whole, could cut out both characters and have Bess and Joe in that, whole romantic thing, and you wouldn't miss a beat. So, anyways, those are my thoughts on that, and, my review, both, comparing and contrasting the book, and the game. As the first game I ever played, it has a very special place in my heart, and I consider it one of my favorites, if not my absolute favorite, considering it's one I replayed the most so far, And 3 times is not a whole lot, but, still. So, Mystery Train, the book, and then Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon. I'm so used to just simply cutting down to a few words, so that way, on the Facebook groups, you're not taking up a whole lot of space and you're still getting the whole name out. And let people know what you're talking about. So anyways, sorry. Mystery Train, the book, Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon, the game. I think the game is better. The book, like I said, isn't too bad, but it could use some work. It definitely needed some work. Great idea! It falls short of some of the, some awesome points. So I plan to rewrite it. I hope you do check out my Arthur sites, basically Aurora Mandeville on Fanfiction, Archive of Our Own, Wattpad, and Amazon if you have the chance. I'm gonna go ahead and do a little promotion there, since I am rewriting a lot of the Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys books, along with others. And yeah, I guess that's it. That's all I can think of that I can add. I'm sorry if I seem a little lost in my thoughts. I've read quite a few books in the past couple of days, and there's other or at least books I've started and haven't finished reading yet, and I need to finish reading those. So I'm just trying to make sure, because it's been a little while since I finished reading this, but that the plot points that I remember from this aren't getting mixed up with the plot points from another one. So anyways, so I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for stopping by and watching, and happy reading. Enjoy.